Welcome back to Forge College. Today, we are tackling translating designs into smart contract interaction tasks. We are right in the middle of your capstone module for the Integration with Solana dApp Marketplaces course. In our previous lesson, Project Planning and System Design, you finalized the overarching blueprint for your application. You walked away with a complete user-facing interface that shows exactly how a user will navigate your marketplace. Think of that finalized UI design as a beautiful, mouth-watering picture of a combo meal on a restaurant menu. It looks perfectly put together, and to the customer, ordering it feels as simple as pointing to the picture. But the kitchen in our scenario doesn't have human cooks. It is run by a smart contract. You can think of a smart contract as a highly efficient, incredibly fast, but entirely literal robotic chef. You cannot just show this robot a picture of the finished combo meal and expect a result. The robot needs a meticulously detailed, highly optimized list of sequential instructions. If you skip a step or order them poorly, the robot stalls out, drops the ingredients, and charges you for the wasted effort. Our goal for this phase is to take the abstract user experience from your menu and convert it into the precise, implementable tasks that your robotic chef can actually execute. The very first decision you have to make is defining your program interface. This is the exact method your client application uses to hand its orders to the on-chain program. Let's look at a chart comparing our options. The first option is a single call composite instruction. This is the combo meal button. You press it, and the robot attempts to make the burger, fries, and drink all at exactly the same time. The catch is that if the kitchen is out of salt for the fries, the entire order fails entirely, and you get nothing. This approach guarantees that a trade settles completely or not at all, and it requires fewer trips to the kitchen. However, packing all that logic into one massive instruction makes the program harder to upgrade later, and it requires a much larger compute budget, the network's version of an electricity meter. The second option is a multi-instruction transaction. Think of this as a custom order form. You still submit the order all at once, but you break it down. Cook a patty, toast a bun, pour a drink. It keeps the instructions modular while still ensuring the steps happen together. Finally, we have the staged state machine pattern, which works like a tasting menu. You send multiple, completely separate transactions over time. First the appetizer arrives, you confirm it, then you order the main course. It is incredibly clear for the user, but it generates significantly more network traffic because the waiter keeps walking back and forth. Selecting between these three patterns is an exercise in balancing your user's desire for a fast, simple checkout against the network's processing limits and your need for clean error handling. Once you decide how to group your instructions, you have to manage how they travel to the network. This is called transaction batching, and it is your primary tool for reducing the time your user spends waiting, while also lightening the load on your RPC nodes, the communication hubs that route your orders to the blockchain. This diagram shows what high RPC load looks like. It is the equivalent of our robot chef walking to the refrigerator for a bun, walking back to the prep station, then returning to the fridge for a patty, and then making a third trip for cheese. Every separate trip adds delay and taxes the system. We can fix this through on-chain composition. By packing multiple instructions into a single transaction, the program can load the necessary accounts once and reuse them. Our robot can carry all those ingredients in one single trip. Alternatively, if you have operations that don't rely on each other, you can use client concurrency. This is like hiring 3 sous chefs to fetch the bun, patty, and cheese simultaneously. You send multiple independent transactions at once, using parallel RPC workers, prioritizing raw speed over strict sequential order. Using these batching strategies prevents network bottlenecks. It ensures your marketplace remains responsive, even when thousands of users are trying to buy or list assets at the exact same moment. To make sure these tasks actually work in practice, we have to attach measurable constraints to them. Telling your development team to cook the burger is too vague. You need to assign the task, cook the burger in under 2 seconds. Look at this control panel. When writing your tasks, you must define 3 specific targets. First, latency thresholds, how many milliseconds the action should take. Second, compute unit budgets, the maximum processing power the transaction is allowed to consume. And third, rent-exempt space, the exact footprint of physical storage your data will occupy on the network. Even with strict targets, you have to plan for chaos. Networks get congested, and communication hubs enforce rate limits that can cause operations to stall unexpectedly. To handle this, we add resilience tactics to our tasks. One common tactic is an optimistic local UI update. This is exactly like handing a customer a restaurant pager. The pager lights up immediately, making them feel like progress is happening, while the actual on-chain settlement catches up in the background. Another tactic is exponential backoff. If an order fails to go through, your application waits 1 second, then 2 seconds, then 4 seconds before trying again, rather than blindly spamming the network and getting temporarily banned for sending too many requests. By combining strict numerical boundaries with these explicit resilience tactics, you guarantee that every single integration task can be objectively tested and measured when you start writing code. We can step out of the kitchen now and look at the final output of this entire translation process, a highly organized, prioritized mapping artifact. Take a simple 2-click buy flow from a UI design. We have now successfully decomposed it into concrete executable tickets. One ticket tells the system to fund a temporary digital lockbox, a program-derived address. A second ticket handles the settle trade instruction, complete with those strict checkboxes for compute limits and latency maximums. Building a decentralized application requires choreographing an incredibly precise sequence, where every byte of data and every millisecond of time is accounted for. In our next lesson, we will take this prioritized mapping artifact and put it to work, beginning the execution of your first implementation sprint. Thank you for joining us for this lesson. To learn more about building robust dApps on Solana and to master the finer points of Web3 development, head over to forge.college. We'll see you in the next one.